Hi, this is Neal Morse, and you're listening to Sonic Perspectives.
Hi, this is Eric Gillette, and you're listening to Sonic Perspectives.
Hi everyone, this is Scott Medina for Sonic Perspectives, and we're here with Neal Morse on his Life and Times tour as it lands in Denver, Colorado. Neal has had a strong solo career in the progressive rock world for the last 15 years and now fronts the Neal Morse Band, as well as being instrumental in other bands such as Flying Colors, Transatlantic, and originally Spock's Beard. But in addition, Neal has released a string of worship CDs and most recently a couple of singer-songwriter releases, which we'll be getting into in just a bit. And tonight we are extra fortunate to have Eric Gillette joining us as well. Being the lead guitarist and singing in the Neal Morse Band, and the guitarist for Mike Portnoy's Shattered Fortress tour, and also having released 2 excellent solo albums of his own. So Eric and Neal, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
It's great to be here, man.
Yeah, nice having you both in Colorado. So for our listeners who don't know, while they're here, not only are they performing tonight, but they've been getting some hitting the slopes.
Mm-hmm.
Neal is just off of a 5-run tour of the Colorado slopes.
I just skied 4 days in a row. It was incredible. It was so great. Oh yeah, God, I'd love to move here. It's just great. I fell in love. I just fell in love with Vail and Beaver Creek, and my family loves it. We had the time of our lives. And Eric's just starting off.
Yeah, tomorrow we're skiing 3 days. Just happened to work out perfect that our trip, I mean, this is the day we were going to drive up anyway, so we're talking on the cruise, and he was like, we're going to be in Denver, and I was like, what? So...
yeah, perfect timing.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad this is such a good destination to get you guys here. Yeah. It's a treat for us. Yeah, so Eric's going to join Neal a bit on the show tonight, and you've had... a couple guests along the way on the tour so far, right?
Yeah, it's been, somebody asked me, I did an interview today, and they asked me what was the most surprising thing about the tour, and I said, well, one thing is the surprise of the guests and the different things, the different elements that they bring to the table, and that has been really fun. And the other thing is the surprise is either forgetting lyrics that I should know or remembering lyrics that I had no idea I actually knew. Huh. Surprise. Like somebody will call out, a song that I'm not sure I really know, but I'm just kind of weird that way. I'll just go for it. And I figure, well, if I forget it partway through, they'll forgive me. Yeah. And then I'll not know what the second verse is, and I'll hit the chord, and then it'll just come out of my mouth. So, but not always. And sometimes the opposite is true. Right. Like I've sung that a million times. I just thought I'd write a song to tell. Oops. Vacation. What? Yeah.
You're up on the wire without a net there, huh?
Yeah, sometimes.
And then when you get the looping involved, it can even be worse. So.
Oh yeah. I've lost it a couple times, but it's mostly been really good.
Sweet. So we'll get a little more into the tour questions in a moment, but first, since I've got you both here, I wanted to take the opportunity to ask you about this year's Morsefest, which was just announced a couple of days ago, right before this interview. Yeah. It was just announced, and so I'm really excited to get you here in person because, already the internet's like, what? Because I think I can safely say in regards to this year's lineup that no one saw this coming.
All right, good.
People are like, what's he going to do this year? Yeah. And no one saw that the set list for Saturday night is going to be your rock opera of Jesus Christ the Exorcist.
Yeah.
Which is virtually unknown to most of your fans, with only, just some demos that you released on the Inner Circle CD 9 years ago. So I'm really curious, why this and why now?
Well, one of the main reasons is that Mike's booked all year. So then your mind starts to think, if you're me, well, what can we do? What could work? It's been such a blessed festival every year. We don't want to kind of let it go by unless it feels right to let it go by. But when I thought of doing Jesus Christ the musical, I just got really excited about it, and Sherry and I started thinking about who we could get to play what, and she was the one that said, "Hey, how about Eric on drums?"
All right, like Sherry.
Yeah.
All right, Sherry. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I sent you the music just, I don't know, 5 days ago or something
Mhm.
like that. I don't know if you
A
listened.
little
to it.
bit, just a little bit, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, Bill and Randy and Paul on guitar is a monster. So
exactly.
it's, I mean, and then all the guest singers. I mean, still gonna be adding extra people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be awesome. I think.
Yeah, I've got a line on some pretty cool people also that are coming in as far as guest vocalists go. But I think it's going to be really, really amazing. I think it's going to exceed whatever our expectations are. I think it's going to be greater.
Well, no doubt, because every year the Morsefest have just been unbelievable. I mean, just the bond in there is palpable.
Yeah, yeah, it's become quite a community. You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
But everyone's welcome.
Yeah. Oh, and new people all the time. I mean, the new people come in each year, and they're just
Yeah.
taken in right away, which is just beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
And I have heard many fans saying, though, that they'd love to hear more about the rock opera before the actual Morsefest. Do you foresee recording a new version before September that fans, even just ticketed fans, could hear? Or do you think that the Inner Circle demos will be about it until you actually record Morsefest and then release that?
We're going to have to kind of see how it goes as it comes. I've got a lot of work to do and gigs, you know, and the new Neal Morse Band album to work on. And
Right.
I've listened through, of course, to the whole rock opera several times, and it needs some work. There's some parts that are just killer, and there's some parts like that could be better. So I'm going to be working on it, and yeah, we'll see what we can do along the way. I don't foresee that I'll be able to redo the whole thing, but I might be able to redo some of it, and I'll definitely be rewriting and working on it.
Yeah. Is it about 90 minutes long, or
It's currently like 2.5 hours. So I'm also going to be cutting some stuff out of it too.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too long. So yeah, I'll be diving into that, but I probably won't be able to get to it till June or July actually.
Yeah.
Because my plate's pretty full up until then, and I don't want to neglect other things. So I hope people will just have enough faith to come and know that it's going to be really unique, very unique event.
Yeah. Well, with Eric on drums that night too. I mean, the fans are always blown away by how versatile every member of the band is on different instruments, and when you do the trade-offs and everything.
Switcheroo.
The switcheroo. That's right. So I know when you were auditioning for the Neal Morse Band, you auditioned on keyboards and guitars. Did you actually audition on drums as well?
I didn't. I thought about it at the time. I didn't have a good solid place where I could have my drums. I lived in an apartment, so I didn't have a drum set up all the time or anything like that. So it was kind of going to be more of a task. And then I thought maybe that was a little too much. Like, what am I going to audition next on,
Oh, here's this guy again, yeah.
Triangle or something. But yeah, no, I've played drums since I was, I don't know, maybe 12. So it's always been I have this hidden, like, I kind of like want to be just like a drummer in a band and just only play drums. I think that would always be cool to do.
Yeah.
Just not to worry about anything, just go play drums. So.
Well, you'll have it for that night
Yeah,
at least.
exactly.
Yeah, I thought that'd be really fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Now, Neal, it seemed to me, and this just might be my perspective, that kind of since the Momentum album, that your lyrics and your approach have been less overtly religious. That's around the time you started Flying Colors and Transatlantic's Kaleidoscope album and Songs from November and now Life and Times.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of, geared toward just much more, accessible to anybody. And even though Similitude was based on Pilgrim's Progress, still, I mean, that album was really accessible to a secular crowd.
Right.
And so now, Jesus Christ the Exorcist suddenly feels like, you're swinging the other direction all of a sudden. And I'm wondering if underneath there's a reason behind the revitalized direction of faith, at least for this one night.
Well, I mean, of course, it's based on the Gospels and it's telling that whole story. So, it is definitely religious, but that wasn't really what I was thinking particularly. I was thinking about what could happen, and when I thought of that, I just kind of felt that kick inside, like, and I
Gotta
prayed
follow
about it
that.
quite a bit, and I felt like, like this would be a good time for that. But I don't know. I mean, as far as how people would take things, I try not to be too concerned about that, because I'm not really very good at gauging those kinds of things, like what people are really going to like and what they're not really going to like. And Mike's much better.
Yeah, that's more the important way.
Yeah, Mike's really
approach.
good at that, and I'm not so much. I usually just kind of go for my gut and do whatever I feel like is the right thing to do in this moment. So there's nothing really calculated about it.
Yeah, gotcha. I was more wondering just from an inner calling, not at all calculated, but more just if you prayed about it,
I
really
did.
felt that.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I pray about everything I do, really.
Right.
So, I definitely felt like it was a good time for it. So.
Well, that might be actually a good time for me to ask something else more along those lines. Because I've been thinking, one of progressive rock's strengths is the way it elicits our emotions, and it really digs deep into the soul through music. And while it's not uncommon that we feel this emotion in bands like Yes and Genesis, I've never really seen more grown men and women weeping in an audience than at a Neal Morse show. They really seem to, the emotion just pours out of your delivery and just sweeps through the audience. Was that kind of aspect there even back in the Spock's Beard days, or has that come more to the fore since you've brought the spiritual element more into your songwriting and your solo career?
Oh, I think it's more emotional. I think it has more impact because we're singing about things that are really impactful. The lyrics do matter, and I think that's a lot of what people connect with. But I mean, there was a lot of really good, powerful, emotional things in the Spock's Beard music too. I don't want to discount that particularly, but I mean, that was one of the great things about the Similitude tour was every time we'd hit certain parts, like every time we'd hit the end and you'd sing the lead part at the end, and this sun's coming home, and it was just so powerful. It's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So we're glad to be a part of it.
Yeah. How is that for you, Eric? Because I mean, that and then Alive Again. You've got some of the key moments there.
It's great. I mean, it kind of became not a joke, but we always talked about it. Like Mike would talk about it all the time. It's like that moment when you see the grown man just hands up weeping. It's like that makes it all worth it. Doesn't matter what kind of day you had on tour or anything. So it was really incredible to see the response of all those shows. It was such a great run. I definitely miss it, but it was a special time for sure.
Yeah. And then of course at Morsefest the first night being the featuring the voices of the Beard, Storytellers Part 2. I could really see in the Morsefest from 2016 with the snow show that you were really moved by the first night of the Storytellers.
It was kind of for me, it was like the surprise hit of the season.
Yeah, right.
Storytellers. Like, it was like all about snow, like, let's get snow ready. Oh, and story, what else? The challenge every time that I'm planning these things, and I usually have a team of people I'm working with too, and we will be talking about it. What's going to work? If we're going to be working on snow the whole time, we're not going to have much time to work on whatever else is going to happen. So the thing that's great about the Storytellers thing is we usually, what we did anyway on the first one was we pick, easier music, simpler stuff, and I think we just had one rehearsal, and then we did it, and it was just really blessed and fun, and also very touching, and just it was a surprise how great it was. So I thought since Ted was going to already be here, we did include him instead of Casey. Casey was a great addition, of course, but so I'm excited about the Storytellers night too.
Yeah. Will Nick be the drummer? Will
Yeah.
he be drumming?
Yeah,
as
I
well
think
on that night?
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man.
Yeah,
Let's set it up the same way, do kind of the same thing,
Cool little
jam on some stuff.
Right.
You know, it's nice to maybe take some, simpler songs and just like, jam on them a little bit and,
Right.
stretch out. And I think people really enjoy the interplay of the musicians.
Yeah, especially when you got everything so choreographed with the main event, whether it's Snow or Similitude or Jesus Christ. I'm sure that'll be very,
Right.
orchestrated. So
Yeah,
nice for
absolutely.
you guys to have something more you can kind of stretch out a bit and be loose with. And
Yeah.
yeah, right on. So now here we are on the Life and Times tour.
Mm-hmm.
New album is kind of cut from the same cloth as your previous album, Songs from November, but I don't think you toured for that one, did you?
No.
Yeah. So why you moved now? Was it just an opening in the schedule, or was it something more that?
Well, it was that, as well as actually my friend Todd Morell, who's with me here, who's been going with me on a lot of these gigs. He kind of he'd been talking to me about doing something like this for a long time.
Ah, nice.
Like, why don't you should do it like just some cut down solo thing, just be with people and spend time. And he's really into fellowship and hanging out and the impact of that. And so that was the first thing that got me thinking about it. And then I thought, oh well, with this album, this would be the appropriate time, and kind of everything came together. With Mike being out with Sons of Apollo pretty much all year,
Right.
it seemed to just make sense, and it's been really, really challenging in a great way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stretching yourself a bit and.
Yeah, it's just a totally different thing.
Yeah.
But
it is amazing just that it still works so well. Like you were on the Cruise to the Edge, you were in the big theater with, until the special guest came out, you were there for your solo show, and it still was just as, the audience was still just as enwrapped as with a full band.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was my first gig.
Yeah. How about that
That's
for
the
first gig?
one. I know. I thought they should put me in the little cafes or something.
Yeah, you should do a little coffee house gig first. you know?
Yeah. That was my first one.
Well, bravo. It sounded to me like, just from what I know a little bit about your history, like in the 80s and 90s, that you had ambitions to be like the next Billy Joel or Elton John or Marcone or something like that.
Yeah, I was always trying to get a deal as a singer-songwriter
Right.
all throughout the 80s and
Right.
early 90s.
Right, so like, is this current album and tour, is this kind of like fulfilling those younger dreams that you had, but from a whole different angle now?
Yeah, a little bit, except every song that you write and every season is unique. It doesn't feel like the material that I wrote back then. To me it's very very fresh. And
Yeah.
it's kind of where I'm at currently, which is what we do.
Right. But occasionally you'll bring in like older ones, like isn't Old Alabama like a really old little chestnut there?
Every once in a while I'll think of a really old song that never got really properly recorded and think, I think it'd fit on this one. So.
Yeah. I mean, that could be your breakthrough Nashville hit there.
You never know.
Oh, so I want to ask, the song Joanna is about your son's relationship with a woman of that name.
Yes.
And I was just curious, upon hearing that story about it, did you ask both of them for permission to record the song with her name in it?
No, but I played it for Will before we tracked it, I think, or soon after. We tracked really fast with the bass player and drummer. We tracked like 16 songs, and I had to then pick the ones I liked the best, which is a hard process.
Yeah.
But I asked him, I think when we recorded the song, I didn't have a finished lyric.
Oh.
I had just had the melody and Joanna, la da 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 da. Yeah. And so when I played it for him finally, I asked him, how he felt about it, and how accurate was it?
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he felt like it pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
And so that was good. No, they love the song,
Oh,
but they want everyone to know that they're back together now.
Yeah.
And it was only 2.5 months, something like that. They were apart.
We were on a break.
Right.
Yeah, well, it makes me think of my rule, never date a songwriter or a comedian.
Right,
You'll probably end up
in their
as
work.
Part of their repertoire, not always in a good light,
Yeah, totally.
But now I have to expand that, never date the son of a songwriter, too.
Right.
Let's see. And Eric, so you recently succeeded in what I would think would be, a dream of your own, performing your first solo performance of The Great Unknown, your solo album, and with the guys from Haken, and just wanted to see how much, satisfaction came from that gig. This was on Cruise to the Edge, up on the 2 shows, but the big one up on the pool stage, and does that inspire you to do more solo performances and albums, or to collaborate with other musicians in a new band context?
Both. It really was awesome. It was a big step. Obviously, it's a lot more. It's a lot different than just playing guitar and singing here and there. Although we do a lot of singing in the Neal Morse Band and harmonies and all that. It's different knowing you're like in the middle there, and even things about just flow of the show and all that. So it was. I thought it was great. Obviously, the guys from Haken are killer musicians, and they just nailed it. So I had a blast. I would love to do more in the future. I'm definitely probably going to start soon on another solo record, so I'm just going to have to take it day by day, but hoping at least we can do, at the very minimum, maybe a short couple weeks of things, or maybe even just some fly dates here or there. I would love to do something to keep the live thing going, because I think that's really important. I love to go see the people that inspire me, so hopefully there's some people that are inspired that would come check it out. So
yeah,
it's in the plans on the horizon. Hopefully, just got to make it happen. That's the hard part.
Oh well, I'm
scheduling.
Yeah,
scheduling, but
booking shows. I don't do that, so
right.
to find someone, but.
Well, one day, the G3 should definitely have you as up there as
someone?
part
That'd
of
be
that.
great.
Yeah. Well,
that would be crazy.
I think we all know someone, but some people. But yeah, so that brings us to you guys are both working on the next new Neal Morse Band album. And after Similitude, are you riding a wave of inspiration and creativity, or do you feel any sense of pressure to match or even exceed that album? Or anything you want to share about how it's going so far?
It's hard not to think about it. Like it's there and you have to try to cast it out, because any kind of comparison, it's kind of a creativity killer.
Right.
So I think we did a pretty good job of not thinking about that and just going for it.
And going another direction, right? Because it's not a sequel to that album.
Well, we're working on it,
Yeah.
We're working away on it, and I'm excited about what it's going to be.
Uh-huh.
We're still kind of rearranging sifting through and organizing it, and it's going to be amazing.
I have no doubt. Still hope to release it by the end of the year, do you think? Or
hoping to.
Yeah.
Yeah. The creative process is difficult to...
Time constraints on it.
Yeah, and it's difficult to say exactly,
Sure.
how long it's going to take, and, you just have to just kind of keep... It's like you keep painting on it, or, like a sculptor, you keep till you stand back and go, okay, it's right.
Nice. Well, and hopefully you'll have the space and time to do that, because I know with your tour picking up, you've got a lot of dates coming up, and of course Mike's on the road quite a bit, and I'm sure you've charted out where the gaps are, but it doesn't seem like there's that many in the next several months, so I just will hope for the spaciousness for you to let the creativity flow in the right way.
Yeah.
And so Neal, for you started the Inner Circle Club like back in I think 2005 or so.
Somewhere around then.
Yeah, which really was before most anyone else were doing that kind of a personal, ongoing crowdfunding kind of a campaign. So I would imagine it's played out really well to support your family in a more consistent way over the years. But I was also interested, have you found it to be creatively stimulating as well? And have there been any other benefits of that program that you didn't really expect initially?
Well, one of the things, yeah, it's great to have an outlet for stuff that isn't, you couldn't, release on the front line, or, you couldn't put it in the shops or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's lots of fans that would really like it.
Yeah.
Demos and outtakes and live stuff that maybe, is a little bit funky, but has some great moments. And so I really enjoy that. Because I really like to share stuff with people that ultimately that's really what this is all about is, you feel like God's given you a gift and, and he's orchestrated things with other people and it's just really cool. And then you just want to say, hey, check this out. This is really something special. And so the Inner Circle is an opportunity to do that on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think it's been fantastic to receive some of those treats, and like maybe the other songs that didn't make it on Life and Times could come out in the future.
Right, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Or like treats like the live concert tonight with Eric as the guest.
Now I gotta play good and stuff.
I know.
Oh yeah, it's such a challenge for him.
I know.
And Mark Bradford's singing with us here tonight.
I was about to say
Denver's own.
I was about to say you've got another special guest tonight, Mark Bradford, and he's become well known in the Neal Morse circle now, especially coming out to Morsefest last year, and from his own account, this likely will be the last time he's on stage tonight. He's been in this struggle with cancer, and it's just recently in the last week or two, from what I understand, really taken a much harder turn.
Oh man!
So the fact of him even getting up on stage tonight will probably take all of his reserves. Did you get to connect with him a bit and pray with him when he was at Morsefest?
Yeah, yeah. He came to both the services that we had afterwards.
Yeah. That's just another special aspect of this community, and bringing each other together, and holding each other in that
lifting
light.
each other up in prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see you, and to everyone listening. If you have the opportunity, Neal's coming in your neck of the woods. I know you'll be out to see him, because it's a really, as I said, a potent show in a very different way than the whole Neal Morse Band experience, and how blessed we all are to be able to enjoy you in so many different contexts.
Well, thanks, man. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you both for taking the time out to talk to me before your show tonight.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing you a lot more.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, thanks both.
All right, take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Again, this is Scott Medina for Sonic Perspectives. We invite you to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can just follow the links at the bottom of the video. So let's close with a track that features both Neal and Eric together. From their massive double album, The Similitude of a Dream, this is The Man in the Iron Cage.
I used to believe His mercies new each day. You can still sing freedom song. You're not so far gone. You're never too far gone to ever turn again.